Hey guys, enter the stars. Welcome to the channel. Dr. Evil Bezos Devil's Mountain 10,000 Year Clock. The International Man of Mystery. The IMAM. So, the billionaire's space race is underway. And I think all of this was planned. Now, why do I say this? Well, because when Jeff Bezos was 33 years old, a peculiar film came out that seems to match his life almost exactly right now. Is Jeff Bezos Dr. Evil from Austin Powers? I think he is. But I also think that Dr. Evil is more than just Bezos. You see, he's a combination of real-life billionaires. Let's go through some of these clips I put together from the 1997 film Austin Powers, in which Jeff Bezos was 33 years old. The International Man of Mystery, the IMAM. So, we know that Austin Powers plays the Dr. Evil character. He plays like a double. He plays both characters. And the story begins with Austin, which of course is the name of a Texas city not too far from Bezos' ranch, his corn ranch out in West Texas. Austin Powers chases Dr. Evil into this cryogenic chamber that looks like an egg, which is attached to a big boy rocket. Dr. Evil launches and in the same time cryogenically freezes so that he could reemerge 30 years later. Let's watch.
I've got you now, Dr. Evil.
Not this time. Come, Mr. Bigglesworth!
I've got you now, Dr.
Remember, Bezos was 33 years old when this film came out in 1997.
Evil.
Not this time. Come, Mr. Bigglesworth!
Dr. Evil escaped and had himself cryogenically frozen.
So we've got this cryogenic freezing. We've got the twinning or counterpart aspect to this because both Dr. Evil and Austin Powers both freeze themselves. And there's even more.
To return at a time when free love no longer reigned and greed and corruption ruled again.
This, of course, is the launch, the Bezos launch of the New Shepard rocket. And you can see the similarities between the film and real life. So Dr. Evil emerges. He builds an underground base, just like Bezos. Now here's where the plot thickens, because so far these are general associations, but things get very specific. What are you talking about, Casey? Well, this is Jeff Bezos' 10,000 year clock. Now, many of you had asked me to look at this, and it took me a minute to get to it, but it actually links into everything we've already been talking about. The clock was built into the Sierra Diablo mountain range, or the plans to build it are in the Sierra Diablo mountain range. Now, I looked through the site. This is Bezos' site on the 10,000 year clock, and they talk about proposed building. You don't get the impression that they've already started to dig yet, but they want to put this clock under the ground in these Sierra Diablo mountains. Sierra means mountains. Diablo means devil. These are the devil's mountains. And these are the very mountains that are on his property. Here it is, right here. You can't make this up. In fact, these are the very mountains that he built, or something is being built in the side of it that is being obscured from looking and searching eyes. Here is Sierra Diablo mountain range, and here is the underground base that we thought we may have found on his property. And there you see it looks like a dragon's head. Some people believe that this looks more like a goat head, like from I Pet Goat 2. Regardless, this project is not supposed to be underway yet. It's all in the planning stages. Yet look here in the Sierra Diablo, the Devil's Mountains. You have these obscured sections of the mountainside. I'm going to zoom in so you can see this. These obscured sections, have they begun this 10,000 year clock? This is the location somewhere in these mountains. I don't know the answer to that, but this is weird. Now, even though this looks like the head of a dragon or a goat, some people say, I don't believe this is a real dragon. Okay. Now, I've said this before, that this is just manifestation of the natural realm, because we live in a nested reality, right? We have smaller things within bigger things within bigger things. And not all of them are manifested in our material realm, but they could be copies of it. A prime example is the body code. We've looked at the body, the human body, and how it contains all of the elements of heaven and Jesus and his sacrifice. The two eyes in your head are the two thieves. The center is the pineal, where the spirit sits. In the optic nerves cross in the middle, just like Jesus hung on the cross. And it goes far, far deeper, but those are the basics of it. And so I don't believe this is an actual dragon. Some people claim that. But, you know, some of these claims are things that are 1,000 feet long. You guys, there's only 24,000 or 1,000 miles long. There's only 24,000 miles across the earth. So to imagine a world where there are even 20 animals of that size, you know, roaming around the planet, in one day they would eat everything on the planet or on the plane. So, you know, some of these ideas of these 1,000-mile long animals, you got to think logically about it. If that was the case, they would consume everything and there would be nothing left. It's unsustainable to have an animal of that magnitude. Some people got really upset with me. They're like, well, what are you trying to say? This person's a liar. I go, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying use critical thinking. That's all I'm saying. Now, here's the interesting thing about this mountain range, the Devil's Mountain Range. This mountain range is protected. Let's go back in here. Here it is right here. The mountain range is protected. It is the last living stand of bighorn sheep in all of Texas. The last sanctuary for the bighorn Texas sheep. And so why would a billionaire be allowed to go carving things in the mountains when, as you can see here, the access is restricted due to the sensitive habitat? And so the last thing they're going to have you do is cutting things in the mountainside, directly affecting the habitat of these sheep, right? So to me, this screams of a cover story. This is a cover up so that people can't go in there and look around. And they do this. This is very common. This is a protected area, but really they're covering something up. Now let's get back into the IMAM, the International Man of Mystery, which I believe is a play on the words IMAM, which some believe will be the coming Antichrist.
Gentlemen, welcome to my underground lair. It's been 30 years, but I'm back.
There's the dragon.
Back in the 60s, I developed a weather-changing machine, which was in essence a sophisticated heat beam, which we called a laser. Using these lasers, we punch a hole in the protective layer around the world.
Now, notice they're talking about punching a hole through the firmament, which we just talked about yesterday, before I'd even rewatched this. The billionaires are trying to break through. That's the race. The race is to break through and wage war on heaven. Let's keep watching.
Early ultraviolet rays would pour in, increasing the risk of skin cancer.
Now, of course, this increased risk of skin cancer, it has just been disclosed this year that benzene is a common ingredient in, sunscreen. JJ has pulled a lot of their sunscreens off the market because of this benzene. And now they have realized that benzene is the cause of skin cancer, or one of the causes. So all these years we've been putting sunscreen on, we've been giving ourselves skin cancer. So this is all prophetic.
In exactly 5 days, we will be $100 billion richer. We will be $100 billion richer.
Now this is interesting because Bezos is only worth 200 billion. That's magnitude of 2. Now why would that be 200 billion? Well, because remember, we have 2 international men of mystery. They're twins, they're counterparts. You have Austin Powers and you have Dr. Evil. So that would make sense that Bezos is worth 200 billion, not 100 billion.
Now, I want you to find out what part Virtucon plays in something called Project Vulcan. I'll need you to go to what part Virtucon plays in something called Project Vulcan.
Now, Dr. Evil invents an earth drill, and it's called Vulcan. And in the film, they refer to it as a missile. Exactly what Bezos launched in the desert. In real life, Bezos' new rocket design will be called Vulcan. The same name. One drills down into the earth and one shoots up into the sky. You can't make this up, you guys. Now, they released a picture of this missile or this engine, this rocket engine, on Twitter. I'm going to show that to you next.
I want you to...
This is it right here. And it's on this test stand. What I want you to notice is the square and compass on the stand, the end of the stand here. Of course, that points back to Freemasonry. Let's keep watching.
To find out what part Virtucon plays in something called Project Vulcan. I'll need...
Cover-up operations. Of course, that's exactly what they're doing. These operations are covers for other operations. They're not really just launching rockets into space so that they can give out tickets to the highest bidder. That's not what's really going on here.
Yes, okay, great.
And of course, they have to tie in the organ traffic aspect to all this. And you can get away with a lot of that when you've got underground bases.
Project Vulcan. Vulcan. Yeah, okay, cheeky, huh? Yeah, come on.
So what's clear to me is that these people like to drill into the earth and they like to launch things out of it. They're trying to escape space. Notice the word space is scrambled to form the word escape. So you see the above and below. That's what they're showing us here. And here, of course, is the Blue Origin rocket, New Shepard, compared to iPetCo 2, which is another foreshadowing of things to come. This came out on the right in 2012. If you don't know what iPetCo 2 is, there is a Wikipedia page on it that tells a little bit about it. But, you know, I can't go over what iPetCo 2 is every single time we talk about it, because we would never get out of the topic we're talking about if I just kept repeating that. But it is an animated film that came out in 2012 that many things were foreshadowed in. And it's undeniable at this point. In fact, we used this scene in iPetCo 2 on the show the day before yesterday to find that very dragon head in the Devil's Mountains. That's how we found it. We used this as a map, and we looked and we found it. Now you're also going to notice a smear coming down off the side of this, and that could be like Dr. Evil's scar that looks like a tear coming down the side of his eye. And it's repeated here on the Blue Origin rocket as well.
Baby, give it to me. Yes, yes, yes. No, no.
Aha. I've uncovered the details of Project Vulcan.
Oh, good God. An underground missile? Ah.
I've uncovered the details of Project Vulcan.
Oh, good God. An underground missile?
So notice he calls it an underground missile, right? So it's not me just making this up. So basically that's telling you, flip the thing around and it becomes Bezos' rocket. This was 1997.
Austin, where did you find these?
Now this scene, I looked on the billboard here and you can see it says, come browse in our 19 fine shops, is I believe what this says here. Of course, that's an ode to 19, CV19, I believe.
Oh, geez, that's great.
So, of course, you guys will all remember the scene in Austin Powers of the moon landing. Listen to what they say here. Now, I don't know if this was actually said during the moon landing. It may have been, but you're going to hear the astronauts say, is the lighting halfway decent? It almost sounds as if they're talking as if they're in a production studio.
The lighting halfway decent?
Yes, indeed. They've got the flag up now, and you can see the stars and stripes.
Beautiful, just beautiful.
look at the look on his face. It's like he knows, even back then. Now, of course, this moon landing aspect is mirrored in real life when Bezos coordinated his launch date to coincide with the moon landing launch date. I think they're separated by 70 years. Now, of course, Dr. Evil displays the caduceus in his logo because he's a doctor, right?
Gentlemen, I give you the Vulcan.
And that's where we're at now. It's all about the doctors. And they discredit the doctors they disagree with the agenda, and they hail the doctors that support the agenda. And that is to shoot a missile into your arm.
Gentlemen, I give you the Vulcan. The world's most powerful subterranean drill. I'll tell you a little story about a man named even before you start.
Now, I want you to notice the globe back here, because Dr. Evil isn't just about Bezos. He represents all billionaires, the T-Man included. But look at the bottom here of this, and I want you to remember these black fingers coming up holding the globe, because this is crazy. You see, the T-Man also built a globe, an iron globe, in front of his hotel to express his desires at that time in his life of a one-world government. Look at the black fingers coming out when he's hanging out with the Saudi princes. with their hands on the glowing globe. You see, if a person like this had truly changed and truly given their life to God, the first thing that they would do as a real Christian is to remove these symbols from their life, dismantle them. He would dismantle his Apollo penthouse, maybe give all the thing, auction them off, give them away to the needy. I don't know. It would be like a Christian holding on to their tarot cards, putting them away in storage. That would be a sign of the heart. And these things aren't even in storage. They are still part of his life. So what was the T-Man's globe all about? Well, let's go back to the image here. This was a throwback to the perisphere unisphere globe of Flushing Meadows in Queens, where the World's Fair was held. It was held there twice. He grew up there. He grew up in Queens, of course. He is the king of Queens. And this is the World's Fair world's government. That was the plan all along. And he was able to bring that about. How? He was under his watch. The world came under a spamdemic. And look at all the world's governments are doing this same exact thing. And they're using it to take away our rights. Forced VCs, lockdowns, quarantines, rules, the rights have completely been stripped away across the entire world. So the prophecy came true. He did help bring about, we as America, the number one power of the world, on our watch, this happened, which means we had to have been complicit. In fact, the very warp speed sticker that was produced by him is the one being used. So it appears as though the Vulcan is the New Shepard rocket. You're going to see in a minute here, Dr. Evil will have a face visor protecting him. So there you go. This is what most people are wearing right now. In fact, you can see these full face shields. They are being worn in Asia. They're being worn in different places. We've all seen the pictures. And here it is right here.
Launching the subterranean probe.
Begin initial surface penetration.
Now notice the spiraling action. That's just like an iPad Go 2, where the hand opens up out of the sky and sends the spiral down, right? Let's look at it in Google Earth here. The spiral comes down. Well, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to drill through the firmament. That's what this is all about. Here's the iPad Go 2 scene. This is the map that I was able to use to find this. Look at this. And there you see the hand coming out of the sky in the landscape, and repeated here in iPad Go 2. That's the spiral drill. All the elements are there, you guys. Here are the highways. And here's the underground base, exactly where it should be. Let's keep going with this. Now, Evil escapes after Austin Powers sabotages the rocket. He escapes by launching out of the desert and freezes himself cryogenically again for the next episode. And there you have it. All billionaires are Dr. Evil.
This place is gonna blow!
You can't make this up, you guys. Take care and be safe.